So you were starting your own company, but what expertise did you have to start your own company in the business world?
I had no expertise.
Okay.
And there was really no reason to give me any backing. Fortunately, my first foray was in silver in 1993. And the zeitgeist was that silver was going to go down to $2 because digital film would supplant silver halide. I believed that people got the analysis wrong and that silver had a better chance of going back to 50. So I put my money on silver options. And silver went from $3.50 to $5.50 in relatively short order. And I made enough money to decide that I didn't want to do that anymore, but I would take all that money and put that on buying an option on a silver property.
Well, let me make sure I understand. Where did you get the money to buy the options?
I started with $10,000.
Okay.
So I had, a little bit of savings and turned that into hundreds of thousands of dollars and then put the money on a property in Idaho. And I realized around that time that I really didn't have very much competition. And so I took whatever money I had and I went to Peru and Bolivia and Mexico, and I would put down options on these properties. After a certain period of time, I found that I had as interesting a portfolio of option properties as any existing silver company. And I knew that even though I wasn't ready for prime time, even though the story was a little bit flaky and delusional, a New York-based financial type with no background in engineering or geology, starting a mining company, I kept it low-key, but I was introduced to George Soros. And he and his brother Paul invested in me.
And how old were you at this time?
I was 32, 33.
Okay, and you were married then?
I was engaged.
Engaged, and did your fiancée say, what do you do for a living?
Oh, no. She was instrumental in the entire process. When I had the vision of buying silver mines, it was in the middle of the night, and she was at NYU. She'd left the Israeli Air Force and was studying at NYU. And apparently at 3 o'clock in the morning, I sat up in bed and said, please write this down so I don't forget it, buy silver mines. And so the next day, Daphne said to me, by the way, last night you told me to write down buy silver mines. So I'm reminding you, but I'm also going to add this, that is so sexy. And so I went into the silver business.
Wow. So
she has unerring insight.
Okay, so how did it work out?
I found that it suited my aptitudes to take that money and buy assets and hold those assets. Having a historical bent allowed me to see the market through the prism of history. And so when you see these cycles and you understand human psychology and fear and greed, the history gives you a great perspective. And so if you own the assets and you don't go into debt, it really becomes a function of time before you become fashionable again. And we made a huge discovery in Bolivia, and that's where the fortune originated.